Hey, Planting Science, this is Jen. I wanted to make a video showcasing what we talked about during the meet and greet sessions on February 16th and 17th last week. For those that either weren't able to be there or want to check back and remind themselves what we talked about. This is the slideshow that we went through. And just to preface this, if you're looking for kind of a full tutorial of where to start, that's not what we talked about. We did create updated 2023 tutorials. Those are all in the YouTube, on our YouTube channel in the playlist. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just go to our channel. It's really the only playlist there, the 2023 tutorials. There is a walkthrough of the user page. There's a walkthrough of the group page. There is a walkthrough of how to set up teams, add students, change passwords, and recruit and assign mentors to teams. Hopefully that gets everybody through the majors. But if you are new to Planting Science this session and you're really not sure what I'm talking about, don't panic. Go ahead and let me know if you're confused. You can certainly check out the tutorials, but if you are confused, shoot me an email at psteam@plantingscience.org. We can set up a Zoom and we will sit down and talk through anything you need to know. I am happy to do it, and I'm already doing it with several, so you won't be the first. Okay, so again, this isn't going to be a tutorial, but there are some reminders about what we need to be thinking about right now. You want to make sure that you are using your group form to communicate, and I recommend also keeping your finger on the announcements just in case those are necessary. So what I'm talking about there, let me go to my teacher here, and I will go to my teacher dashboard. All right, so here is the group that I have set up for him, and the forum is here. This is, again, something that the group can see, not the project team. So the students cannot see what's posted in here. But it's still a great idea to come and introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, what you're about, why you came, all those things. The updates discussion that's under this as well can be used by the teacher to provide updates about what's happening in class. Highly encouraged, really helps your mentors know what's going on. You can also, as mentors or liaison, post updates here as well about what's going on with you. As, if you know you just got an opportunity to go out in the field and you need to take a step away, post that update here so that everybody's aware, your liaison can act on it, all of that fun stuff. You can also, if you have questions about what's going on in the classroom, use this. And the best thing about that, of course, is that then it's there for everyone to see. So if someone else has the same question, you just did a service for the whole group. So make sure you're making use of this. It's the best way to communicate with each other. There are also announcements. Obviously, this list is empty, but you can add a new announcement by clicking here. What that will do is post a message on your group page, so on this main page here, in like a big red banner that provides an update to what's going on in the group. So this is something that typically, well, I guess it depends on where you are in the United States. Whether it's either late fall or early spring, if inclement weather affects whether you're having school that day, that's a great use of the announcement feature, because what that will do is it'll kick an email out to all your mentors and your liaison to say, hey, our school was canceled today, the kids won't be posting. And it doesn't have to be something earth-shattering. It can be something that simple, but it at least lets the mentor and the liaisons know that there's nothing new is going to be posted today, so they're kind of on top of what's going on. And then you can deactivate it as soon as you guys are back in school. During COVID too, or if illnesses are still kind of a big issue for your school, that's also a good thing to post there. Similarly, mentors or liaisons, mentors, there's not as many things that rise to top of mind that would be good reasons to use the announcements, as opposed to just contacting the teacher. But you have the ability to do that as well. So if you can think of something that you feel like all of the teacher, the liaison, the PS staff, all of us need to know, that's what it's for. Please be aware for the spring session that we have a hard stop on April 30th. You don't have to start your projects until mid-March if you don't want to, or even early April, but you have to be finished by April 30th if you want your kids' projects to be considered for STAR projects. And the reason for that, of course, is that as of May 1st, we are on a mad time crunch to get projects judged, to get awards made to get everybody's information, in place, and get those prize packs mailed out so that they get to the students before they leave on their summer break. So please, please, please make sure that April 30th is like tattooed in your brain. We have to be done by then. If they are not, if your kids if you just couldn't get it done, that's fine. We just can't consider them for STAR projects because we just won't have time. So it's a bummer, but that's all we can do. Mentor recruitment should begin 1 to 2 weeks before students are expected to log into the program. That means teachers, I need you to be really clear with your liaisons, how many groups you need and when you plan to start. We don't want to be recruiting way in advance because the longer mentors sit, the more likely they are to get busy with something else and kind of wander off. They can't help it. They're teaching too. They're doing research. They may be called into the field, whatever. And so if we know 1 or 2 weeks ahead that they're needed, they can wait that long. If it gets to a month or more, it's hard for them to come back after waiting that long. So make sure that everybody's on the same page about when to start so that we can make sure that our mentor recruitment is pretty tight to what you need. Yes. Okay. So we have 2 new coordinators this year. This is part of a research initiative that we have coming up for the fall, and you'll see mention of it on the website. It's called Digging Deeper F2, and it's called F2 because it's a replication study of one that we did in 2016 and 2017. Those almost never get funded, so we're very excited that it got funded, and it's allowed us to hire these 2 wonderful ladies to be on our team. They're going to be helping out in a lot of different ways. But the main thing to know right now is that you might see them in your member list. In addition to the PlantingScience staff account, you may also have Jen coordinator or Sean coordinator. And the reason for that is we're kind of getting our systems in place because come fall, we're going to have like 90 groups going. So we need to make sure we understand how we're breaking out roles and how we're making sure everybody's getting the support they need. So if Jen or Sean are in your group, you can reach out to them, ask questions. That's what they're for. They are going to be checking in with your liaison. They'll be the one checking in with you to make sure that you've got what you need. That's basically it. I am going to click over here to our meet and greets real quick just to say, if you missed the newsletter where I featured them, that would have been the kickoff newsletter for the session, you can come here to this Post-it note and click on it. And this is the feature. So if you want to learn more about them, what their research is about, highly recommend it. They're both really great people, and very interesting research, and lots of talent too. This is Jen likes to, she's an artist, and this is her character Araby, who's a Arabidopsis plant. Yeah, so definitely check that out. Another aspect of that research grant is that, whenever you do that, one of the things we try to do is to build budget into that for improving the platform. So the PlantingScience platform is a Hub Zero platform, which means it was developed to be kind of a collaborative vehicle for groups of scientists that are working on research together. Which means it's kind of close to what we're doing. It was close enough that we're able to make it work for PlantingScience with some modifications. But there's always things about it that might be a little bit smoother given that we don't use it in exactly the way it was designed. So we, whenever we have an opportunity, we go to their design team, we say, okay, these things are kind of pinch points for us. Can we fix these? And so that's what they're working on right now. Now, most of the things I'm going to talk about going forward here will really be in place for fall, but some of them, they're working on them as we speak, hopefully as I speak this moment. And so with that in mind, they're hoping to roll some of them out during the spring session. Now, they're all kind of aesthetic things, so it's not going to disrupt what you're doing no matter when they roll out, but it might show up and surprise you. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of what they were so that if it does pop up, you can just know what's going on. A couple of things that are happening right now. The public menus are being reorganized. What that means, that's this menu up here. We want to skim this down a little bit so that there's not so much information for visitors that are just dropping by this site to find out what's going on. We want that information to be very clear and straightforward. So a lot of the information under teachers and scientist mentors and the student menu that right now is hidden, those will show up when you're logged in, but not before you're logged in. So we're working on that right now. The other thing we're working on doing is kind of reorganizing and and prettying up branding our lesson information, our investigation theme plans and that. So we're organizing them into a little more traditional structure of lesson plans, aligning them with the NGSS and other standards, and providing essential questions, key terminology, that kind of stuff. The reason for that was simply to, first of all, just sort of bring it to the level that most teachers are comfortable working with, and also provide structure and like downloadables, those kinds of things that would be helpful in the classroom. The goal of this, however, is not to lock teachers into a specific way of going about it. The materials that we have created have been pretty flexible for a reason. We want it to be something where you could use it as a standalone or use it alongside other things you're doing in the classroom. So please don't feel that once these roll out, we expect you to do everything in exactly the order it's listed. These are still just suggestions. So you'll have creative control even after they're out. So we started with trees because we have a presentation about that one coming up, but the others will follow suit as we get time to get it all together. So Hub Zero's updates to us include a slight revision to the member page. The member pages for you are going to be here on your group page. And see how they just list cards with everybody's name. If you click on the name, it takes you to their profile. But that's kind of only so much information. It shows you what their permission level is and their name and their picture, and that's it. So we felt like a couple of things that we struggle with here. One is the invitees tab, which is important for liaisons while they're doing the recruitment, is over here, and they often don't think to check it. So if there is anybody invited that's just sitting there, they tend to just sit forever until people think to check that and cancel the invitation, which means that you could have mentors like signing in and your project's nearly done. And that's awkward for everybody. So we want to eliminate that as possible. So we've asked them to create an all tab that shows invited members, it shows the current members, shows your managers down here at the bottom, and it shows a category of members called pending members, which I'll explain more in a minute. But the point is, all of the people are on one page at one glance, so managers can see this when they just look at the members page, and they can see exactly how many people they've invited, if they have anybody pending, and then who has actually accepted their invitation to be part of the group. The other thing is that this is fine, but we actually would like there to be more information, because what we've found is that when it comes time to assign mentors to the various teams, it can be hard to remember if you assigned everyone or not. When I've had to do it, I've actually written down everybody's name and then gone into the teams and assigned folks, and then to come back and sort of check to make sure I had everybody, which can be clumsy. So what we've asked them to do is to take any teams from that group that have been assigned to a given mentor, and put their name on their card. So it'll have their name, it'll have their picture, but now it will also have the project name and the alias of the projects that they're assigned to. And there will be room for up to 2. Most people do not do more than 2, thankfully. So that hopefully will make it easy just to see at a glance. If you've got somebody who has no name underneath their has no team underneath their name, then you know they haven't been assigned yet. The invitees interface, again, a lot of people have a little trouble finding this, so it'll be good that it's on the main page. But when you come to the invitees tab, one thing that we've asked them to do is to turn the cards pink or red, kind of, when an invitation has been sitting there for more than 5 days. That way, you know, this person has had at least a weekend to respond. They probably are away or just not available right now. So they're going to have to, we're going to go ahead and cancel that one and maybe invite somebody else. We've also asked them to build in some very tactful language for that cancellation so that doesn't feel icky to uninvite them. I mean, our mentors understand that this is how it works. Nobody's really offended by it, but it still feels weird to have to kick someone out. So we have some preloaded, tactful message in there that explains what's going on. The cancellation buttons are also going to be clearer. Obviously, this is where you click. Right now, there's like a little pale X up here that's not as instinctive. But those are all changes that we've asked them to make. We are asking them to reorganize the overview pane. That's this pane right here. That's this right now. It's just not pretty. It's not terrible, and it's informative in its way, but it's just not attractive. So what we need it to do is to maybe be in more organized in blocks, more easy on the eyes. So we're going to have them put in these blocks that will show where things, all the information will be in a reliable place, and it will be easier to look at. And finally, we are updating this mentor recruitment model. Currently, all of our groups are on a invite only policy, which just means that if a mentor wants to mentor for PlantingScience, they have to set themselves available and then watch their email, and they have no other way to volunteer to help with a group. But PlantingScience does have a join policy called restricted. And if you set your group to restricted, then it's considered open, and people can apply to join. Right now, the language is clumsy, but what we'd like to be able to do is give our liaisons and teachers the option to open up their group to applications, so that if mentors are looking for a group and they're just interested in helping out whoever, they can volunteer, and that cuts down on some of the inviting you have to do. So the new cards, right now, it just shows the name of the group and a picture. The new cards will have a lot more information. They will have the group picture, they'll have the group name, they'll have the group alias. But they will also have the theme that they're using, their age level, where they're located in terms of their time zone, how many positions they have versus how many they've filled, their start date. And instead of saying join, it says join right now. It's going to say apply, because that's what we're doing. Is they're not just going to join it, they're going to apply, and you're going to accept or not. There will be preloaded language and all the messaging, which is currently not there. But functionally it already works. So if you're interested in trying it out, if you're having trouble recruiting and you want me to open it up for you, I'll be happy to do that. Just let me know. It just will be kind of weird looking at first. But the group, anybody who does apply, they will show up under that pending tab we talked about in the member list. And, you can see it even now. If you go to your member list now, there is a pending tab. There's just usually nobody in there. But if you set it to restricted and people apply, this is where you'll find them. And you can come here to accept or deny them. And that's that. Those are all the changes. So keep your eye out. We'll also announce to you when we think it looks like it's going to be rolled out, so you'll be a little prepared. But I'm excited about those. I think it's going to make certain aspects of the process a little more instinctive for people. I am also going to post a link to this Jamboard. We just played around with this during the meet and greets, but it ended up being a nice way to collaborate, which is, of course, the point. Please feel free to introduce yourself on this. We had a lot of people that did that. You can see this is one of Jen's art. I think I mentioned that already. This is kind of a cool FAQ. The green is my answers. One question that I have not gotten before was, what should we do if scientists follow us on social media? The key thing, if in the event that kids do that, because it's happening now, more and more, just avoid engaging in any private correspondence. So if they send you a direct message or a private message, just ignore it. Do not respond. Don't even respond to say, I'm sorry, I can't really talk to you privately. But you can converse with them on the public feed. As long as they are of age to be using the platform, there's no reason why you couldn't maintain a professional conversation with them the same way you would with anybody else. But just avoid anything that could come across as inappropriate. That's mainly the thing you want to watch for. And then, yes, we can work one-on-one through the setup. And that if you're a liaison who's new and you're feeling stuck, I'm happy to meet with you too. So just anybody who needs help, that's what I'm for. There are completed projects on the website. That's also a good place to check. Only students under the age of 13 need a guardian permission form, and I can talk about that in just a minute. And this talks about the updates. So yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to post them here, and I will pop by and post a message, and I'll also maybe make sure that I add that to our eventual frequently asked questions so that we have everybody covered. This page, we were sharing ideas about teachers wanting to engage mentors more. Sometimes it's easy to sort of get swept up in the classroom, and believe me, we completely understand. Like, your job is not easy, and nobody's sitting over here thinking, wow, what's that teacher's problem? But if you are looking, if you're wanting a certain kind of experience for your kids and you want to help your mentors meet them halfway, these are some tips that are really good. I really thought this was good, that making sure your mentors are aware of what kind of restrictions you have in terms of like materials and time. I think that's important to let them know, because they don't always instinctively know that the kids couldn't do 23 trials just to get a more, robust result. So if you tell them, we have about as enough cups that everybody could do maybe 3 trials, maybe that'll stop the mentor from telling the kids that they don't have enough. They mostly are wanting to meet you where you are. They just may not know. So using your forum to kind of let your mentors and liaison know what you're up against can be really helpful in helping them talk to your kids. Also, any pictures that you can include are good. Obviously, if you have kids that are under the age of 13 and their parents don't want their pictures out there, don't, we understand, we respect that. But if your students do have permission to be on the platform from their guardians, putting their picture up there without a last name is so helpful, because we want the mentors to be visible to the kids, but if the kids are visible to the mentors, it really does make it a little more personal. So definitely that's helpful. Also, this is big. Please don't forget to have your students post their results if you're a teacher. That happens way more than you'd think, where kids just get to the point where they're done and they're so focused on doing that final presentation or their poster or whatever that they forget to come back to the platform and tell their mentor what happened. And so the mentor's just left hanging, wondering, how did it turn out, guys? And the kids are just happy that they're done. I will say too that failing to post some kind of goodbye and thank you to the mentor actually does count against them for STAR projects as well, because that means I can't really show that as an example on the website, because we wouldn't want somebody to look at that and think that that's a good way to end the project. So the goal with the STAR projects is to find the ones that are really good examples for other people to look at. So make sure that you guide your kids to do that. And also, this is interesting. We have actually studied this in the past, and we have found that if the kids are online after the mentors are in place, the whole conversation actually goes a lot more smoothly. If the kids are on there and there's no mentor posting at all, even if it's just for a day or two, that can be, they feel kind of at loose ends, like they don't know what they're doing, which is understandable. And it may be unavoidable, and if so, that's okay. But if at all possible, and this goes for liaisons as well, like make sure that there's a scientist posting to that feed before the students get there, because then they will feel a little more like it's real. The fourth pane here, we talked about advice that we give to mentors to help them connect better with students. Definitely include an introduction. Definitely keep your profile up to date so that they know what's really going on with you. We thought one of my teachers mentioned this, and I thought this was great. If the liaison could make a weekly habit of posting every week, then when the kids all gone, they at least have that liaison post waiting, even if their mentor's being a little on the pokey side. So if you are a liaison, if you could take a moment to use that update pane. And by that, what we're talking about is if you go to the projects link on the group, and this second tab here says updates feed, you can use this to type a message to all of the projects at the same time. So you could post something just kind of benignly encouraging, like, hey, everyone, great work this week. It was so good to see this, blah, blah, blah. And just know if you want to drag that down, you can. It helps give some space to write in. But then you can you can either select a specific project to send it to, or you can send it to all projects at the same time and click share. So it's pretty easy to do. Very handy tool. And then finally, if you can make one change to PlantingScience, what might you change? A big one that teachers have been asking me for, middle school teachers, is this digital permission form for middle school students. Kids under the age of 13 have to have permission from their parents to be logged in. So that does exist now. We're very pleased to be able to announce this. So we now have, if you go under About, there's a tab that says Information for Parents. So it walks through all the precautions that we take to keep kids' privacy secure, and also, of course, provides an opportunity for them to contact us with questions. But if you click on this parental consent form, you will come here, and all the information, all the legalese is listed here. And below, there is a form that they can complete and even a signature line that they can sign. So I have one teacher piloting this right now, and it's going really well. What happens when they click submit is if the parent included an email, they will get a PDF form with their signature and everything that will be sent to them in the mail. If they didn't, then it will always go to the teacher. It may go to the parent if they included an email. The staff does not get a copy, but the record of the form, I definitely have a record of that. Now, that does not mean, though, that PlantingScience staff can keep track of all your kids' permission forms for you. So if you're a middle school teacher, you still have to be the one checking off to make sure everybody's permission forms are in, and making sure that you're respecting what their parents have consented to and what they have not. But if you ever are not sure and you want me to check, or you want me to send you a list of the kids from your classes that have submitted their form, I can send you a list. But you will also, like I said, get it in the mail, in your email, as a PDF attachment, so that you'll be able to keep a record of that for your own files. All right, so that is it. That is what we talked about. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot stress this enough. I know I say it so much it's obnoxious, but if you are stuck, if you have questions, please just reach out to me at PS Team, or you can even text me at 314-669-1489. I do not mind getting those texts, and it's a fast way to reach me. Please, just don't founder, because we really want to see you be successful. We want this to be fun for you, not a frustrating time. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about all these updates and excited to see this session kick off. Have a great day.